Man, I didn't think things could get worse, but here we are, and they have got worse for Atari VCS. We just talked about a lot of craziness with this system, I think maybe a week ago. And here we are, and it has gotten even crazier. Game over. Atari VCS architect quits the project. That's Rob Wyatt. That's one person we did speak about with his game board Kickstarter. Like, he has his own project going on. Claims he hasn't been paid for 6 months. If the guy who's the architect of this system hasn't been paid in 6 months, how do you expect to ever receive your console? They can't pay the guy who's the architect of the console. Do you really think you're ever going to get the console? Retro console a mess, according to the Register, may never launch, sources allege. Wow, we have to dig into this one real quick. It's only right to follow up with this because that was one question a lot of people were wondering with Rob Wyatt. And there was like posts where people were asking Atari and they kind of floated around their answer with it. Didn't give a direct answer if he was still working on the project. Just like, oh, there's multiple projects going on out there. He's working on the game board. Everything's great. Hooray. But no, it's not. These guys are in a scramble. What was that? Ant Stream? Now I'm thinking, okay, if they can get this thing out, they have no company signed to make games for it. Antstream was their only hope to launch, if they can launch, with something tangible, some kind of set of games on there beyond what they're going to ship it. The Atari games that they're going to preload on it. That's the only other thing they could do is to quickly get a bunch of games accessible by having a paid service tacked on. Oh my God. The architect of Atari's much delayed retro console, the Atari VCS, has quit the project, claiming he hasn't been paid in 6 months. The departure could put the entire affair in doubt. This is not good. Oh my God, these guys are going to be the laughing stock. If they haven't already been the laughing stock of the gaming world, this is it right here. Gaming industry veteran, one of the founding team members behind the Xbox and Atari system, architect Rob Wyatt told the Register, as of Friday, October 4th, I have officially resigned as the architect of Atari VCS. So maybe he still did work with them at that time because he was holding on to that hope that he was going to get his paycheck at some point, but shit never happened. Now he's like, you know what? I'm done. Let me just sue these guys. Because what the heck? The techie claimed Atari haven't paid invoices going back over 6 months to his design consultancy, Tin Giant, which was working on the VCS, adding, as a small company, we've been lucky to survive this long. That is, wow. That's messed up, Atari. Pay your contracts, pay your people. Man, you can't even pay you can't pay the people who are doing your work for you. I really doubt you're going to ship this product. It's unclear whether Atari will be able to complete its beleaguered project without Wyatt. It only received a prototype motherboard last month. That's right. The end of September, they made that little Ask PCB prototype board that nobody was sure if there was RAM on it. Could have been on the underside. But it was just something that was thrown together real quick. That's why they went the route of Indiegogo, because you don't have to provide a prototype. And it took them 2 years, over 2 years, to show a prototype, and they've never shown the actual system working. Oh my God. It's unclear. Okay, we already read that part. Task of finalizing the hardware will likely fall to Surface Inc., another company that Atari has contracted to complete the console. Surface Inc. has not responded to multiple requests for comment because they want to get paid. They want to make sure they get paid. They don't want to piss off Atari. I was hoping to see the project through to the end and that it wouldn't come to this, but I have little choice other than to pursue other opportunities, Wyatt told the El Reg in a statement. He denied the decision to walk had anything to do with him forming another company, the last game board. That was the thing we were talking about, where it's like a LCD, maybe touchscreen board. Seemed kind of neat, like for, playing board games and role-playing games, that kind of thing. It seemed like a neat project, to be honest with you. The recent announcement by me being a co-founder and CTO of the last game board has nothing to do with this decision. TLG has been around since prior to my engagement with Atari, silently doing R&D. The claim of lack of payment echoes another dispute involving Atari. That's one we were talking about before. I've talked about this lawsuit. In July 2018, we've talked about this in a video before. The Troubled Biz was sued by the man who first proposed Atari VCS as a modern version of the classic 2600 console, Fergal Mac. Canulad, whatever, right? I can never say his name. He's Fergal Mac. Fergal Mac claimed Atari had reneged on a deal to give him a 4% cut of crowdfunding revenues over $200,000, plus 25% of the limited company set up to launch the console and shares in the Atari company. So a lot of people suing these guys. Crazy stuff. Atari raised over $3 million to crowdfund development of the console, but Fergal Mac never received $112,000 he was owed, according to his lawsuit. The case was settled out of court in New York in May this year, with Atari later noting in its 2019 financial statement that Fergal Mac was paid $82,000, $82,400. So he settled for a little less. He was like, I just want to be done with you guys. Give me my money and I'm gone. Money. It is unclear why Atari has not paid invoices from Wyatt's Tin Giant, which was the main developer of the VCS console, because they don't have any money left. They have nothing to share. They have nothing to give anyone. They don't have money left. How do you think they're going to get this console to people? The launch of the retro toy is listed as one of 3 operational goals for Atari in 2019-2020. Remember, this thing is supposed to ship the backers in 2 months, in December, and in March in 2020 to retail locations and retail pre-orders. Expanding its game portfolio and development in the long run of applications at the intersection of entertainment and digital technology, particularly blockchain and online casinos. Atari is not in good financial shape. The France-based outfit only has 3 employees. You think 3 employees are going to be getting these things to you guys? It ain't happening. Oh my God. And made a loss of $2.75 million in each of the past 2 years on revenue of $22.6 million and $19.8 million respectively. Most of it from licensing the Atari name and games. The company claims to have $5.9 million available in cash and cash equivalents, although most of that was the result of $8.2 million that Atari raised in 2018 stock issue. Its CEO, Fred Chesney, is paid under $1.1 million a year in compensation. How the hell does your CEO get paid that much money and you guys are doing nothing? You guys, oh my God, this is like a scam of a company all around. The CEO's just sucking them dry. Man, I mean, maybe that's not a good analogy there, but you know what I'm saying. He's getting his. We have asked Atari if Wyatt's claim to have not been paid for 6 months is true and what the reason for non-payment is. We have also asked Surface Inc. if it has any outstanding and unpaid invoices. We have yet to hear back from either. Yeah, I bet you it's looking pretty bad for Surface Inc. as well. The issue of finances has overshadowed the Atari VCS project ever since it was announced under the name Atari Box back in July 2017. It quickly became clear that the company wasn't announcing the availability of the console, but was only seeking to gauge interest by asking people to provide their email to learn more. It repeatedly emailed the thousands of netizens who subscribed with product updates before announcing in 2018 that it was going to allow people to pre-order just 3 days later. But the launch date came and went, and no one heard anything beyond saying the launch had been paused. Then, 3 months later, in March 2018, Atari suddenly announced it would be at the annual Games Conference in San Francisco. Later that month, to show off prototypes. The register attendant was surprised to find only a few empty boxes and no working models. That's all they've ever shown. They've never shown something that actually works. Our conversation with the outfit's chief operating officer, Michael Arts, revealed that the biz had made almost no progress in the console despite having announced it 9 months later. Regardless, Atari used press from the event to launch an Indiegogo campaign with an initial goal of $100K. Interest was high, and within a month, 11,340 people had paid an average of $264 to receive one of several versions of the VCS on offer. Atari got over $3 million in total, minus whatever fees they pay, right? So, I mean, they didn't make, when you really look at the grand scheme of things, they didn't really make much money on that Indiegogo for all these systems that they hadn't even developed. They had no prototype. They had nothing going on. Where'd all that money go? That money is gone quick. That money disappeared within months, man. Holy crap. Atari announced that it had hired Wyatt and his 10 Giant consultancy to develop the hardware and software on June 27, 2018, just 2 days before the crowdfunding campaign ended. Only with millions in hand did Atari finally start work on the actual console itself. And they probably paid him for a short while. They paid whoever else. They paid for advertising and all sorts of stuff for their PR firms and all that good stuff. And then now they got nothing, man. Warp speed. Atari executives also give a new launch date, June 2019. That came and gone, right? Game industry insiders immediately questioned whether that was possible given how long it takes to design and test a new console. And we were proved right when in March this year, 3 months before the due date, Atari announced the launch would be delayed again. Of course, they're going to constantly delay this thing, right? They're going to delay it again because it's supposed to come out December for backers, March for retail pre-orders, right? So they go on and on just talking about the same thing. We now know that Atari did not even have a working prototype when it relaunched its console in June with a new launch date of March 2020. First prototype motherboard designed by Wyatt arrives 3 months later in September. That's last month. It's only a couple weeks ago. Around the same time, amid a lack of updates on progress and news, that Wyatt, and CTO and co-founder of a new startup, had paid at least 250 more gamers who paid at least 250 more than a year earlier took the VCS Reddit page to air their grievances. Atari responded by deleting those posts. It's all the stuff we talked about earlier in that other video. Wow. As such, in the past 2 weeks, we've spoken to a number of console and game developers, some of whom will have direct knowledge of the VCS. They asked to remain anonymous. Okay, let's see what they got to say. The most striking comment, and one which may sum up the Atari VCS, came from someone who had worked directly on the gizmo. They called the whole process a shit show. We've been saying that since the beginning, man, with all this craziness going on. Our conversations reveal an Atari focused with watching every cent spent on the console, an approach that has led to a long series of bad decisions. We understand that the final console will not have its own Atari-flavored operating system, nor will it have an Atari store where you can buy and download games. Wow, that is nuts. So what is this thing? This is like worse than the Dream. What was that dang thing that we were talking crap about? The Dreamcade replay? This is worse than that thing. Atari executives have no understanding of how game consoles work, nor the Linux-powered operating system, even at the most basic level. Wow. In order to cut costs, Atari execs refused to approve a custom Linux distro that would allow the console to run its own distinct operating system. Wow. You're going to be selling a budget PC that doesn't do anything. As a result, the final machine will end up functioning like a regular generic Linux PC. Whoa, if you want a $250-ish media box rather than a game console, it is effectively a Steam machine. Oh my God. In addition, the new Atari controllers, which you have to pay extra for, may not work consistently across games, it appears. Oh, wow. Yeah, because they didn't just, oh my God. This is just nuts, dude. This is worse than we originally thought, even beginning this video. The operating system is just going to function like a Linux PC because that's all it is, a basic Linux PC. There's no uniformity across the whole platform of games. The controller is going to have to be set up for every single game. Get out if you can, which I don't think people can get their money back on these things. You pre-ordered at a Walmart, a GameStop, wherever is taking pre-orders and you've put your money down, cancel those damn pre-orders. This is ridiculous. Streaming TV services will be available just like you can have on any device like this. The failure to create anything beyond a PC and Atari branded boxes, we are told, the result of penny pinching. Although last month it did announce a deal with streaming-based Antstream Arcade to provide a bundle of retro games for under $100 a year. Atari refused to pay developers to port their games, even though it's simply not worth the programmers' time to develop games for a platform with such a small number of players, we're told. Atari's estimated to have pre-sold fewer than 15,000 units, whereas there are millions of players in Xbox and PlayStation, right? It gets madder. Cost-cutting is also thought to be behind the decision that Atari watchers have been collectively confused about for several months, offering a cut-down $250 4GB RAM version, as well as a standard, more expensive 8GB. That 4GB edition of the console is available only through Walmart, we understand was a direct result of Walmart insisting on having a product that came under $250. The quickest and easiest way for Atari to get down to $250 is simply pull out one of the two 4GB DIMMs and state that the machine was upgradable. Thus, the 4GB machine will not use 2GB DIMMs, but rather a single 4GB DIMM with an empty slot next to it. What that means in terms is that the single DIMM 4GB Atari VCS may run a little slower than a dual DIMM 8GB due to the available memory bandwidth. The RAM issue also explains why some Atari watchers were confused at the most recent pictures, particularly a big gap where the RAM should be. The answer is simply that the RAM is on the other side of the board, so it can be easily reached by users wanting to upgrade. Yeah. In summary, but we're getting into the weeds. Here's a short version of our investigation. We're not going to reread all that stuff, but there you go. Wow. Don't worry. We have some good news for you. The Atari VCS was not a monumental waste of everybody's time and trouble, because we have it on good authority from several sources that the retro original controller is actually good. I mean, it's just a basic controller. That is nuts. That is crazy, my friends. So get out if you can. This is a ridiculous situation. Atari's in over their heads. They're not paying their people. Rob Wyatt, the architect, his company behind all this stuff, quit, wasn't paid. These guys don't know what they're doing. If this thing does finally launch, you're just getting a Linux PC, a Steam box that has nothing unique about it other than has Atari branding on the actual box. This sucks, guys. You know, we've been saying it for a long time, and I've also been saying at the same time, I'm skeptical of this craziness, all this weird stuff going on with these guys, but I hope in the end people get what they pre-ordered. I never had said I want to see Atari fail. You know, I just reported on the crazy crap going on here, and I always tried to reiterate in comments, you know, replying to people in my videos that I'm not looking for these guys to fail. I want them to deliver to the people who pre-ordered this thing what they pre-ordered, meet their expectations. But unfortunately, with this latest news, it doesn't look like that's going to be even the slightest of chance at happening. There's no game developers. There's nobody signed to make games for this thing. The architect's gone. It's just going to be a Linux box. That is it. I hate to say it, but you guys, unfortunately, who pre-ordered this, you're not getting a serviceable machine that is actually its own unique console. You're getting a mini PC. You're getting F'd in the A. Like everybody who pre-ordered or purchased the Dreamcade replay got F'd in the A. It's just the way it is. Hopefully something positive will come of this, but at this time, Atari, get your head out of your ass. Appreciate you guys watching. And with that said, I will catch y'all next time. Peace out, bye-byes, and boom, boy.